Hello and welcome. This is Cheryl. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are opening up window number 22 of the Spellbinders Crafty Advent Calendar. Every day up to the 24th for December, I'm opening up one of these windows and then creating a little project with them. In today's window, we got some really pretty peachy iridescent sequins. So off screen, I picked some coordinating cardstock scraps, and then I die cut the hello die from day 16, as well as some flower dies from day 10. And I'm just going to create a very simple card. I'm going to put those sequins in the center of the flowers, and then I'm also going to just use them to decorate the background a little bit. So I'm taking my die cuts and gluing them together. I'm using my tweezers to hold the die cuts, and then I have some Bearly art glue in a small precision bottle. And it makes it really easy to be precise with that glue, get it just a little bit on there, not get a little bit too much. And that small bottle I find is really easy to hold in my hand. I'm using reverse tweezers here because if I happen to drop it or whatever, I'm not going to lose that die cut in my tweezers. I have to squeeze those tweezers in order to release that die cut. So for the flower dies, I cut one of the big one and then 3 of the medium ones and 3 of the small ones in different peachy colored tones of cardstock. So just for this middle flower, or the largest flower, I am taking that flower and I'm taking some cutter bee scissors and I'm just cutting a line in it there. When I use flower die cuts, I really like to use my fingers and curve the petals a little bit just to get a bit of dimension. I'm not doing this with the 2 smaller flowers that I'm creating. Those will lie flat and they will tuck in behind the bigger flower. I'm only doing it with the bigger one. So I just glued those smaller flowers flat, and then for the bigger one, this is how easy it is to curve it with your fingers. You could use a stylus and an embossing mat if you wanted, but I'm just trying to get a little bit of dimension out of it, and I find my finger is the easiest way to do it, and it works so quick and easily. And with this particular die, you have to put that little slit in with the scissors because these petals aren't very long. If you happen to be using a die cut that has some longer petals, you wouldn't have to do that step. So once I have it curved, I just put a little bit of glue in the center of the flower, and then I just held the piece of cardstock or the die cuts down for a little bit so that that glue could really grab before it dried. I also did those little bud dies from the flower dies from day 10 as well. And I'm once again using my tweezers as well as that precision glue to glue them in place. These are really easy to place and know exactly which one goes where. And I find that assembling all these die cuts and having them ready to go when you're ready to make your card makes it so much easier. So I have my mats down on my card base, and then I'm just gluing that big flower and then tucking everything down behind it. When assembling a card like this, liquid glue makes it work so much easier because you can put a little bit of glue on that die cut and then slip it into place. Whereas if you're using a double-sided tape or a tape runner, you kind of have to place it where you need it to go. Sometimes it grabs before you want it to grab. And this precision craft glue dries nice and clear, so you don't see if you happen to get a little bit of glue on the outside or on the background. You don't notice it. So I just work away, tuck in behind where I want these things to go. You could use more leaves or more buds, but I didn't want to overwhelm the card too much. I wanted to make sure that there was a little bit of space left to put those sequins on there, just to add a little bit of sparkle to this card front. Now, even though I'm using some liquid craft glue here, it starts to grab those die cuts really quite quickly. So you don't have to worry about them lifting up and moving over or moving while you're tucking things between them. It'll hold those die cuts and you can just tuck those pieces underneath there. Now for those sequins, I'm putting a little dot of glue where I want them to go, and then I'm using a jewel picker to pick them up and place them. You could use a pair of tweezers as well, but I find a jewel picker has just enough stick to grab it, but when you place it on top of that glue takes over and it kind of releases from that jewel picker. So it makes it really, really easy. There's a couple sizes of these sequins in this package, so I'm trying to make the background or have some larger sequins as well as small sequins on that background. And then I did the same for the centers of those flowers. You don't need to have a ton of glue for them to hold. It holds with just a tiny little bit. So a liquid glue like this really goes a long way because you don't have to use a whole lot. Once I have my background where I like it, I let it completely dry, and here is the final result. I love those sequins and the little iridescence that they have and how they grab the light and sparkle. These would be so fun as well in a shaker card, I think. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you tomorrow for day 23.